Welcome to this technical overview of Creo Illustrate, our 3D technical illustration solution. Creo Illustrate offers a dedicated environment with the tools required to create rich 3D technical illustrations. These can be used to communicate complex products and procedures clearly and graphically to downstream consumers of service and technical information. This enables the technical illustrators, authors, and service planners to repurpose design and engineering data from any 3D CAD format for use in service information, training materials, illustrated parts catalogues, and even interactive sales collateral. Creo Illustrate allows the illustrator to interact with the design data and its structure from an existing engineering design. This interaction is associative and stays intact throughout the illustration's life cycle, so that as engineering design changes or service procedure updates occur, the change process can be automated for all related illustrations. Let's take a closer look at Creo Illustrate. You start an illustration by importing one or more assemblies from any of the major CAD formats. Creo Illustrate allows you to import multiple files from multiple sources, merging and assembling them together into a single illustration file. Once imported, this design data can be restructured, enabling the illustrator to reorganize the engineering bill of materials to a service or illustration BOM. As we can see here, you can create an empty SBOM structure and then populate this with just the required parts for this illustration. As you drag and drop parts or subassemblies from the EBOM to the SBOM, the graphical rendering of those parts changes from the phantom style to a solid shaded style. The different nodes in the SBOM tree can be collapsed or grouped for their specific serviceable status. Here I will combine all of the engineering components of the bucket to a single serviceable item, while the teeth and the related bolts are specified to be a kit of parts. These combine or kit designations will be important later on when I create a parts list of these items. But notice also that having combined the bucket into a single item, Creo Illustrate will treat it as a single part for all future operations. Now that we've imported the CAD data and structured our SBOM, there are many types of technical illustration that you can author with Creo Illustrate. If you need to illustrate components that are inside a complex assembly, then one method would be to make the outer shell translucent, and Creo Illustrate's phantom render style is great for this. It can be used to de-emphasize some components, showing them just for context, while emphasizing the main items. Another way to illustrate internal components would be to section the model, and Creo Illustrate has very powerful but easy to use sectioning capabilities. By simply dragging on the section plane, you can create real-time dynamic section views, and these can be leveraged within the technical illustration, or they can be recorded in an animation. Sections can be applied either to the entire model or a selection of components, and you have the ability to create either a single planar section or use a second plane to quickly create a quarter cut through the selection set. These sectioning capabilities within Creo Illustrate give you the ability to create very informative technical graphics and animations quickly and easily. Animation is a very powerful way to communicate complex service procedures and techniques. Creo Illustrate can animate the CAD parts by recording keyframes and can capture motion, color change and visibility of these parts. All events recorded in the timeline can be edited, duplicated or reversed. The animation can also be augmented with additional notes, symbols and tools that appear and disappear to coincide with other events in the timeline. As well as recording keyframe events manually, you also have a toolbox of animation effects, and these can be applied to selected components. Common effects like fade in and out and screw unscrew are available, as well as a number of effects to highlight parts to draw attention to them before an action is applied. In this example, you can see how some animation effects can be applied from the toolbox to fade in and fade out the screwdriver before continuing to illustrate the full removal routine for the service technician. We'll see shortly how the finished animation can be consumed by the service technician. As well as graphical illustration, Creo Illustrate can also generate an interactive parts list automatically. This parts list reflects the structure of the service BOM, either the whole bill of materials or just a subset, and takes account of those serviceable parts and kits of parts that I set up earlier when restructuring my SBOM. All of the metadata from the engineering CAD file can be leveraged to produce dynamic parts list information quickly and accurately. Notice that callouts can also be generated from this parts list and placed automatically in the view. These callouts are dynamically linked to the parts and allow cross-selection between the callout balloon, model object, and parts list line item. Throughout this demonstration, I've been creating different views and types of 3D illustration, both static and animated, and Creo Illustrate saves these as multiple figures within a single illustration file. This provides a very efficient way of deploying multiple illustration graphics that all relate to the same dataset. It also provides another illustration tool, and that is the ability to document step-by-step procedures with multiple sequential figures. Each new figure can be started by duplicating the previous one, and so service procedure steps can be illustrated quickly and efficiently with each step of the procedure represented by an illustration figure. Now let's change role and see how the service technician can consume all of these illustrations. Once you've logged into the company's service portal, you can easily navigate through the service product structure to find the specific vehicle and all of its related service information. Using 3D navigation, you can locate the exact part or subsystem to work on, eliminating wasted time hunting for service information and the potential mistaken use of unrelated materials for each service task. Once you reach the target part, you're presented with just the relevant information for this specific component, without any unnecessary or distracting data. This disassembly routine that I've just authored in Creo Illustrate is a series of interactive graphics. The service technician can either interact with the model directly and interrogate the metadata, or can click on the individual figures to see the authored steps. Figure 1 is that animation you saw me create in Creo Illustrate. The technician can play, pause and rewind to review this as many times as required to learn the procedure. All of the subsequent figures are the individual process steps from Creo Illustrate, and they provide discrete bite-sized steps, allowing you to learn the procedure at your own speed and get the job done right first time. Notice that the Creo viewer smoothly transitions the view between these figures, providing an animated impression to the service technician and maintaining context between each step. Finally, while still connected within the service information system, the technician can easily access the related parts list. Creo Illustrate can also publish its illustrations in a 2D format for continued authoring in Arbortext Isodraw or publishing to 2D media formats. Notice that the balloon hotspots and cross-linking to the parts list are preserved when transferring the illustration to Isodraw. This interactive parts list ensures that the correct parts are ordered for this specific procedure and product. This concludes the demonstration of Creo Illustrate for 3D technical illustration and service information delivery. Keep in mind that with the associativity back to the engineering data and PLM system, as design changes occur anywhere in the product lifecycle, then those changes will update throughout the service information, giving your service technicians accurate and up-to-date information at all times. Thanks for taking the time to watch this demonstration today. For further information and to request your own demonstration, please visit ptc.com/illustrate.